Vershawn Jackson.
If I'm going to watch a man run around, I want to see him run around in tights, in shoulder pads, in helmet, mouthpieces, and gritting their teeth, squinting their eyes. Some people closing their eyes and smashing into each other. That's what I want to see. That's football. That's football. That's football. Don't nobody want to see no we shall overcome type football. They want to see some rock 'em, sock 'em, hit you in the mouth football box. Exciting football.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. The Supernovas Radio Network is live. This is the Omaha Supernovas pregame show brought to you by Mullen Motors.
Saturday afternoon are for volleyball. Omaha, Nebraska. CHI Health Center, DP next to Coach Renee Saunders. And Coach, this is starting to get interesting as this league starts to move. Wear and tear and adjustments of rosters, and we talked about how fluid things are, that how things are one day in one game, they are not the same. Maybe even the next set, we're one rotation away from everything changing constantly. And as the characters and the superheroes and villains are known, it's pretty interesting to play through and set ourselves up on a night where the 6-9 Las Vegas Thrill come into CHI Health Center. And Coach, let's go back before we get into Supernovas and Thrill. And I spent some time poking around the Federation, and look, we're not surprised that Atlanta wins its last outing. It's starting to look and feel a little different at the top of the Federation, and the movement in the middle is active because
TBD.
Yeah, like it really is a thing that we keep trying to settle in to this season. It won't let us. It won't let us. It's too fluid. So Atlanta sitting at 10-4, Omaha at 9-4, and an opportunity again for the Supernovas tonight to match that. But fantastically so, greatly appreciated that this federation has done a wonderful thing. We can go ahead and shout them out since they hooked you up.
That was pretty nice of Nebraska Public Media delivering a little Pickleman sandwich.
Yeah, they didn't bring 3.
I'll split it with you.
Yeah, they didn't bring 3, but that's okay.
I think Lindsay or Larry didn't want theirs. Oh, we feel bad for Renee today, so we're going to give her one. She looks hungry.
Yeah, you look, you're doing the honorable thing, so it makes sense.
I'll take one for the team.
Yeah. Tomorrow's a big day for you. And we have to shout out our folks, friends from, the Tasty Churro Company.
No, I cannot wait till tomorrow morning. Oh, you are just teasing me on Thursday.
He delivered some goodies for the entire team. And we trusted Jeff to take them in the back and keep some. But, again, Supernovas first. They didn't leave much.
They left 0.
They left. So shout out to Tori Dixon for at least reaching out to you, saving you some, right?
Tori Dixon shared her little cup with me. Yeah,
right.
She gave me some, which I can't eat till tomorrow because I gave up sweets for Lent.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be a good kid, but tomorrow, coffee and churros for breakfast.
That's it. That's a beautiful
I
thing.
can't wait.
That's a beautiful thing. 10-4, Atlanta at the top of this thing. I was asked this question yesterday, and I thought I would save it for you. Atlanta at the top of the league. Why?
They have the highest win percentage right now.
But what about that team makes them the team that's figured out how to win to go 10-4?
They do so many things well. Lazareva on the right side, Edmond on the outside, 2 great middles, great setting, great defense. I mean, they're the total package. But the funny part is like we go there and we sweep them, right? So I think we talked about it at the end of the last game, but like the more I think about it, you can look at these standings and yeah, they're 10-4, but they very easily could be 10-6. Novas could go, they could be 9-6. Like any team can lose any game at any time. So I think on Thursday we were talking about how that was a big game, and now we're waiting. Our next big game is tonight.
Yeah.
And all of our focus and our effort needs to go into tonight. And you can't get caught up really in the standings because, like you saw last night, Orlando, who we swept, right, 4-0 against them this season, sweep Columbus in Columbus and made it look easy.
They really did. That like I tried to rinse my eyes out and kind of go, okay, let me just watch it purely on what we saw last night. And it didn't make sense to me because we had seen Columbus. We'd seen the best
and
version
they had
of
beat
Columbus.
us.
Yeah, like it was. Let me tell you, it wasn't as close as the score indicated.
Right.
So it was. The expectations of this thing change on a nightly basis. So, what is it about the Supernovas? What have they done to put themselves in the position that they currently sit in?
I mean, it's got to go back to their team chemistry. I mean, that's the bottom line. Like every conversation I have with Bird always goes back to how much she loves this group of players and how well they get along and how they have this great mix of experience and youth, and she loves how they battle and they love how they practice and how like they're super fun, and she just absolutely loves this team. And I don't know if you ask every coach across the league if they would have that same answer. So I think that we are in a very unique situation where we have a really great group of professionals, a really great group of young women who are not only great volleyball players, but they genuinely like each other and care for each other. And when you have that makes it more fun to coach. It makes it more fun to play. It makes it more fun to watch. You can see their joy and passion when you come to a game. Like you can't see it on TV, but you can see it, feel it, hear it when you're in the arena, whether you're sitting in the upper deck or you're in the lower bowl, wherever you're at. They just give off good vibes.
To land where they stand, and again, they could switch, and I imagine that they will switch positions several times over the course of the next few weeks. That's just the way the Federation has played out so far. Then you get into the group, the cluster of teams that Vegas falls in the middle of, and including Columbus, Grand Rapids, Orlando, etc., San Diego. What's going to define who's team number 3?
3 and 4.
Right.
I mean, really, like you have Atlanta, Omaha kind of sitting on top, right? And then you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at the bottom. And they're all differentiated by a couple matches, which very easily could happen any moment, any day. Like Vegas needs a win. Vegas gets a win. Vegas moves up to then 6 and 9. Now they're up ahead of Columbus, who now Columbus was just in 4th. Now they're going to drop to 6th. Like there's a lot of movement when you're that close together on win and win percentages between being 500, 3rd place, to 6th place is 357, and then you got San Diego at 333. So, the bottom could very easily move, but it seems like they're fighting for 3rd and 4th. Like looking at it, it looks like Omaha, Atlanta are going to probably be the 1-2, right? If we were to do this right now, 3 and 4 could change in 1 week. And when I was talking to Coach Flory before the game, she's like, it's hard to manage because there's no continuity in the schedule, right? Like we just had a 2-week break, but then we play 4 matches in 9 days, and then we kind of go to a 1 game to 2 game a week type of setting. But when there's no continuity in schedule and you're trying to manage legs and swings and random people getting hurt and losing 3 starters before literally your 3rd starter right before the match tonight, like Vegas is managing different things than what Omaha's managing.
Yeah, I thought from a talent base, some teams had identified themselves as on the same par with Omaha and Atlanta. And I thought, okay, Columbus is a team that player for player, it makes sense. There's some matchups that actually work for them. Then Orlando, when you watch Orlando and you watch the Valkyries from not only from match to match, but from set to set, they're fluid. They can tee up somebody else, let them get going. They adjust to it on the fly. And then this Vegas team, that when we saw them get Omaha on their heels and never let them off. They found a thing that worked for them. And then when Omaha adjusted, they found something else to finish the match. So I think the league is doing a great job in saying it talked about parity and you know what, everybody can get it on any given night. So tonight sets the table that, listen, Omaha comes into it at 9-4, big win at home, one day in between. Vegas travels in. This could be one of those, hey, let's get in the closet and let's just slug it out.
It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a fun match. Like I was telling Coach Flory, like Vegas might have been the funnest arena. I wasn't in Columbus or Grand Rapids, but of all the arenas we've gone to, Vegas was fun.
Vegas was a good time.
Vegas was fun. And she talks about, the product and like making it fun and getting fans out and how they've had decent attendance in Las Vegas unless they're playing at 4:00 on a Monday. Well, that goes back to the scheduling thing that we talked about. But yeah, the league is set to be a match every single night.
You've dealt with this as a coach, though, in the scheduling, that it doesn't always go to what's good for the team, and it's certainly not always what the coach wants to do. Sometimes you just have to buck up and figure it out. But how much say-so would you like to have as a coach on scheduling?
I mean, I would like 100%, and to a certain extent, you do. Like we travel, so the last thing I want to do is have my kids coming off a plane and then playing a game the next day.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so I'm very conscious about rest and when we're playing high level teams and when we need more rest versus less rest and heavier load versus lighter load and where we can add and take away. And I've been pretty good about laying our schedule out in that manner, but there's a lot of things I inherited that I had zero chance of changing. And I'm okay with that. Like, I mean, I can't have everything I want, but I can try.
But
it would be nice. But no, I mean, but there is fluidity, but at the high school level is different. The college level is very set. Like it's very like, okay, you're going to play on a Thursday, Saturday. You're going to play on a Friday, Sunday. You might play a Friday, Saturday, but they know that every week. This is our Monday is our down day. Tuesday, we're going to rev it up. Wednesday, rev it up. Thursday, we're going to come back down. And then we're going to play Friday. And then we're going to serve and pass on Saturday and play on Sunday.
What's the ideal rest for you? Like for your teams, what's the ideal rest? How many days in between? What's ideal?
At the high school level, as long if it's a really tough match, the next day we're having a pretty light practice. So it kind of depends. If we sweep in 3, then we're probably going to have a normal practice the next day.
Yeah.
It kind of depends. And it depends on who you're playing the next time too. If you have, a game where you have more confidence in, then you're going to adjust based on that. But I'm not coaching for a game or for a practice. I'm coaching for an end goal. And so we're constantly moving towards that. You're either moving towards it or you're moving away from it.
It's always interesting. And again, that's why in these first set segments of the pre-match show, is just to kind of reset it for volleyball, and at this level, it changes. It's a little bit different in whether these are high school fans, parents of players who are former players, and then other pros. Everybody does it differently, and you have to evaluate that. Well, toward the break, we'll come back. More from Omaha CHI Health Center, DP Coach Renee Saunders on the Supernovas Radio Network and pre-match show here, powered by 93.7 The Ticket.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, keeping it green, helping it thrive, making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Road construction is complete, so there's nothing keeping you from getting into Mullen Motors. They can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2024 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2023 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Layton in Lincoln.
No tagline, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The Supernovas Radio Network is live. This is the Omaha Supernovas pregame show brought to you by Mullen Motors.
It's the Vegas Thrill and the Omaha Supernovas on the Supernovas Radio Network. 6 o'clock first serve local time. And as we set it all up from the league standpoint, it's pretty cool to watch. Again, that Vegas comes in every night. It matters. The schedule's long enough and not long enough at the very same time that you can't. You have to figure it out. You have to get it right
every night.
And with that, as a coach, you have to make decisions, whether they're health management decisions. Sometimes it's personnel decisions. You have to manage this. It's an interesting thing. Coach, how would you handle we were just talking about it off air. How would you handle the pro athlete, the differential between a high school, college, and pro? So you have the experience. So how would you manage it differently, being that it's professionals? These are grown-ups. We still call them kids. We can't.
I know. I'm so glad Coach Flory calls them kids too.
Yeah.
I don't feel as bad.
Yeah, like I always cringe at it because I always think now that at this point, as a paid professional, I should probably give them that.
I'm trying to do better.
Yeah, like
I've been a lot better.
It's a thing, right? But you still see them as a coach as you are,
right?
And in the management of the personnel, because everybody wants to play. Coach Bird does a pretty good job of managing the personnel. But everybody, especially at this level, you've had success. You know what works for you. You expect to be out there.
Yeah, it's, they're professionals, right? So you expect them to do the things to prepare them best to play. But I think there has to be, you're still a team, right? So there still has to be certain things that have to intertwine. I'm a big fan of everybody matching. So, if my kids came up to me and been like their first game this year, they wore leggings. One kid came out, had leggings on. I'm like, are you going to change? She's like, no. I'm like, she goes, well, we're all wearing them. I'm like, you're all wearing them? She goes, yeah, we figured you get mad if only a couple of us did. I'm like, well, you're correct. We should all look the same, right? And so, one of my teachers at Scott asked me, well, how would you manage that if you were some of them are in leggings, some of them aren't? I'm like, well, number one, I wouldn't tell them they have to or can't, but I think that as captains and leaders, they would come to a consensus as a team if they all wear the same or if they can do different. And if they all agree the same, then I'm cool with that. There's certain things that you can, especially high school, right? You can tell them a little bit more. And then as they get older, they have a little bit more freedom. And, and you want to give them that freedom and let them grow up into adulthood. And now they're adults. You got to still respect them as adults. But even Bird was talking about, they were talking about blocking, and we had this conversation about blocking and how, they've all been taught by different people. And Bird has a system, but Sydney and Noddy were not her setters at A&M or at Kansas. Right. Okay. So they don't know Bird's systems. The Supernova have their thing, right? They have their way that they play. They have their system, they have what they're known for, or their identity, right? As a team. Yep. Well, that is created by the players, but hopefully it's led by the coaches. Okay. So if they want to be a defensive team, which I thought on Thursday, they were their identity was relentless defense. It was awesome. You know, they were digging balls, they were blocking balls, they were long rallies. You know, they were attack mode. They were all those things that like you want to see. So obviously in high school, you're telling them what the expectations are. In college, you know, you're also giving them expectations to meet. But I think as professionals, they also need expectations to meet, not rules. It's just expectations.
Well, it can be, you know, and some people use the word standard, right? Yeah. This is how things are done, or whatever your operational boundaries are. It's in play, but it's a thing that different players feel more comfortable in different ways. Again, that whole leggings versus shorts thing.
Right. Simple.
It is well, but as the coach, you can say, "Hey, I'm not ordering leggings. You're going to have to wear shorts."
That's too bad.
And deal with it. Same thing. I mean, again, I as a coach, I'm sitting here looking at the small things, and you get caught up in socks and knee pads and shoes.
Speaking of socks, which socks is Christina wearing today?
Yeah, that was the first thing.
She wearing Sunday socks again today? Oh, man.
That was the thing to look for, right? And trying to understand. We're good. You're good for time. This was the thing that you pay attention to. The personalities start to come out.
Yep.
And then you have to determine from whoever the leaders are, whatever they're doing, everybody's allowed to do. And that's how simple it is. But I paid attention to, she was stretching. And I immediately, again, not interested in how she was doing health-wise.
You had to look at her socks.
Yeah. Like you did that. You did that. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
That you've done that for me.
I'll see what I can find. I'm pretty sure Sydney Hilly, thought I saw it on Instagram. I thought she had a thing did a survey or a poll to see what color shoelaces she should wear with her shoes. White was the lowest score.
In this day and age,
and she's wearing white. She went against the grain.
Be a rebel.
I'm proud of her.
Be a rebel.
I'm proud of her.
Well, every team that I've ever coached, same shoes, spikes, same everything, right? How you wear it is who you are, and I get that. Extra wristbands, that sort of thing, and have to deal with it. But it always finds it over the course of the year with professionals. The teams, I watched Atlanta, player-led team. Omaha is a player-led team. And so I would then ask the question, is that on purpose? And is that the way?
Yeah, I mean, yes, as long as they're all leading in the same direction, right?
Well, those are the two best organizations.
That's
currently.
The bottom line is that is your team all going in the same direction, or is the leadership either negative, or is the leadership toxic, or is it selfish, or there's times where there's bad leadership, right? And so a player-led team where people are following the bad apples is a bad thing, right? But if we have 14 players, 16 with practice players, we have those players all out there and they're all leading a team in the same direction, then there's nothing wrong with that.
And I think that's the results show. And if you're not having game success, then, you have to make changes on all the other stuff. That's usually literally how it's done. And again, on a week where back-to-back, and then they're going to look forward and get on a plane in another day. Right, so tomorrow's an off day.
After they eat churros and coffee for breakfast.
And
have Easter.
Oh my goodness! I literally texted him and said, "Are there more?" that's how focused I was on it. It was really a thing. Listen, so Vegas comes in at 6-9. It's a big opportunity. Here's what we'll do. I'll have you go up and down the roster. We won't talk about starters or that sort of thing, but we'll get up and down the roster on who is the Vegas Thrill, and what we have to look forward to tonight, what we've seen so far, and what we can look forward to tonight. I'm DP Coach Renee Saunders. We'll be right back to the Supernovas Radio Network.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy Easter. They hope everyone is able to enjoy time with family and friends during this joyful celebration, as we remember what this day and weekend are all about. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care. Tanner's Bar and Grill is the perfect place to watch the NCAA tournament from the round of 64 all the way to the championship. Bring your friends and family in to enjoy Tanner's delicious hamburgers, chicken lips, and daily specials, and wash it down with one of their tons of options of beers. You'll never have an issue finding the game, as there are TVs everywhere throughout the space. So get in early, grab your spot, and settle in for a day of NCAA tournament basketball at Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill. Road construction is complete, so there's nothing keeping you from getting into Mullen Motors. They can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2024 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2023 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Layton in Lincoln.
No tag-on, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Spring is on its way. Are you prepared to keep the grass greener on your side? Blades Lawn and Landscape has a position opened at a homeowner association to their client list, with residential and commercial openings also. Transform your yard into a private oasis with the professional services offered by Blades Lawn and Landscape, including landscape walls and beds and a 5-step fertilizer program applied by a licensed professional. Call them today at 402-730-6320 or go to bladeslcc.com to schedule a free estimate on commercial or residential lawn services.
The Supernovas Radio Network is live. This is the Omaha Supernovas pregame show, brought to you by Mullen Motors.
CHI Health Center, Omaha, Nebraska, Supernovas Radio Network, powered by the fine folks at 93.7 The Ticket. DP Coach Renee Saunders, Coach Vegas, and a correction, Vegas is 5-9, which puts them in that core group of teams at 3 through 6 who are battling just above San Diego, who the Supernovas will see Tuesday in San Diego. First time out there at the Viera Arena. But this Vegas team, again, 1-1. This is the rubber match so far to set this thing up. Coach, let's go through. If you remember match 1.
Or 2, which one?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, they were similar in that the real difference was just how they finished. What did Vegas do well in match 1?
Set their middles. I mean, they had Van Buskirk and McCage in the middle for the first 2 matches, and they did a great job of finding them in transition, especially in match 1. In match 2, they put in, and Gabby Gonzalez went off in that first match as well. In the second match, they started Kat Bell instead of Gabby Gonzalez, and Kat struggled a little bit in serve receive, and then they put Gabby in. But we got them reeling on the defense, got them out of system a little bit. They couldn't set their middles as much, caused a little bit of an issue for them. Like, you got to have your head on a swivel today.
Yeah, I think so.
But then, like, I'm thinking of Hippie right now because she's right in front of us. But Saskia Hippie, who is a fantastic player, was phenomenal in both matches.
Yeah. That's when I circled matchups and players, key players. It was in how we were going to call this thing because she's so active in it.
Right. And then you have Alicia Glass-Childress at setter, who was player of the week last week or the week before. Phenomenal player. And now Hannah Pukas, who was like one of their top draft picks in the first round, like number 3 overall, is now in their active roster. I think she was actually injured the first 2 matches. So now they have 2 great setters on the roster, which Havili is also a very good setter. She's their 3rd setter.
There's a lot of Texas flavor on this roster of players. What does that do? What does that mean? What kind of players are coming out of the University of Texas?
Dynamic, high-flying, powerful. I mean, as far back as I can remember, my freshman year, we beat Texas to win a national championship. But like the love between Texas and Nebraska has never been a love affair. You know, it's always been a big rivalry, and Texas has always been one of the best programs. And they have a bunch of great players, but they're really known for dynamic outside hitters. Kat Bell being one of them. She played there from 2011, 2014. Fantastic outside hitter for them.
So then we have an adjustment that we need to make along the way here. There we go. He's plugging in so that we can get the house system and the call, so to be able to pull those in. So when the anthem is played.
Oh, got it.
It'll pick up those things, and then if they decide to use any of our content in the arena, you'll be able to pick that up as well. So that's another thing. Talk to me about the Vegas head coach, because it's the longevity speaks volumes.
Yes. Yes, Fran Flory. So I went over there and I asked him. So Denise Corlett was a 31-year assistant at Stanford.
Yeah.
Fran Flory was at LSU forever. She's in the Hall of Fame at the ABCA. Denise Corlett's also in the Hall of Fame. And I just said, because as a young female coach, like I looked up to, seeing Denise on the bench of Stanford for 31 years, like you admire that, right? You admire that longevity. Same with like Fran Flory, like a lot of admiration as a coach for them as coaches. And I asked him, like, how'd you get this dream team together? And Fran goes, I begged her. And I kind of giggled and I like looked at Denise and I'm like, did she really have to beg you? And she goes, it was the right time for me to make the shift and try it, you know? And it's just, there's nothing but respect for both of those coaches from me, but I think in the volleyball coaching world as a whole, they're just two fantastic people. Before the match, I just was looking over there and Fran was taking a picture with, it looked like probably a former player who's here tonight with her and her 4 kids, you know? I mean, she's just fantastic coach, worked them really hard. We only played, I think, LSU one time in my career that I remember, and it was my freshman year, maybe sophomore year. I think it was freshman year. But she always put a good product on the floor, and just a fantastic coach.
There's that thing that if you have decades of college coaching experience, that transitioning to pro isn't always easy. It's not simple sometimes. What's the biggest thing she's dealing with?
You know, I think it's managing professionals, like what we were talking about earlier. And she admitted like maybe she could do it better. And then that's when the TV people came over. So I didn't get to finish the conversation, but I'd be curious to hear like what she does well or what she would change, because I think that's a good learning experience for all coaches. And the volleyball game has evolved a lot in 31 years. I mean, just in my 22 years as a varsity head coach, the game has changed a lot. And I think as a head coach at any level, if you're not changing with it, then you're going to get left behind. And so I think longevity shows 2 things. Number 1, it shows a passion for the sport, but number 2, it shows your ability to adjust and adapt. And I think that's also very important.
You said the game has changed, and we know that the federation has its own rules, and there's a different level to it. But what else has changed in the game that needs to be spoken to?
I mean, just in the last 20 years, it went from traditional scoring to rally scoring, from no libero to libero. You know, the biggest, and I think the biggest difference between like college and professional is the amount of substitutions. You need to be a 6 rotation player. I love the 15-second serve clock. I think it keeps the game moving at a pretty good pace. I love bolt 6, but the athletes, they keep getting bigger, stronger, and faster. They jump higher. You know, the athletes have changed, and that you can change all the little intricacies of the game, but the bottom line is the athletes have changed, and they've changed for the better.
Yeah, I mean, to see the federation was real particular and specific in that it would open this style of play up to different types of players, different types of athletes. Has it shown up in a positive way for the federation?
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, same thing if you want to go overseas, right? You have to be able to play all the way around. If you want to play USA, you have to be able to play all the way around. So the Pro Volleyball Federation, like their rules and what they've done makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And what college does makes sense. what clubs do. It makes sense, right? You want to get lots of kids playing, and you want them playing and loving the game and building it up. When you get to professional level, you've got to be high skilled in every area, and I think that's a good thing.
I'm going to put a pin here, but I'll ask the question and get your answer when we come back. But which way does the magnet pull? So will the lower levels now pull to the Pro Volleyball Federation style of play, rule of play, operation? We'll talk about that when we come back to the pre-match show here on the Supernovas Radio Network.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
Road construction is complete, so there's nothing keeping you from getting into Mullen Motors. They can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2024 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2023 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Layton in Lincoln.
No tagline, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Hello. Hello.
Believe it or not, old phones are one of the most common pain points in offices today. Many of these phones are beyond repair because parts aren't available to fix outdated devices. Whether it's a traditional phone system or cloud-based VoIP technology, Hamilton Business Phones can help upgrade your connection. We make it easy to sync your office phone with yourself for seamless call handling, no matter where you work. If your current office phone can't do this, you deserve better. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
The Supernovas Radio Network is live. This is the Omaha Supernovas pregame show brought to you by Mullen Motors.
As we try to set you up for Thrill versus Supernovas in about 30 minutes. Coach Renee Saunders, it's the question was, yeah, I'm absolutely going to ask the question 100%. Will the rules, the progression, the teaching, the coaching, the training, and development of women's volleyball be magnetized into the direction of the Pro Volleyball Federation, International Volleyball, or will it stay under the way that it's currently operating?
I think it's going to stay under the way that it's currently operating for a couple reasons. I mean, number one, we're trying to grow the game, right? We're trying to give many kids opportunities to play. And so when you have multiple substitutions, now you have, a place for those 6'9" people that maybe can't pass, right? And then you have also a place for those 4'11" kids that will get eaten up at the net unless they jump out of the gym. So being able to have lots of substitutions, I think, allows us to grow the game more, especially at the club level. Club, in a way, is business. Right. And so the more roles they can give and fill and players they can play, technically that's the more money they can make. And that's just the ins and out of it. But on a positive, because I can see both sides on 99.9% of things in life have two sides. Right. I also think it's a great opportunity for kids that maybe they wouldn't get a chance to play if it weren't for those rules.
I was asked that question and I said I wouldn't dare speculate on it because it requires that you go into the dark corners.
It does. And
right?
you love to put me in the dark corners.
Well, we're here educating until we can entertain.
Well,
right?
and it's been on. Like if you ask Coach Cook or you talk to Coach Karai, like it's been talked about. How do we develop more 6 rotation players so that we are more prepared on the international level?
Well,
that's part of your job as a college coach is to develop players. And you're going to have the players that go all the way around. We have a couple at Nebraska. There's ones at Wisconsin. So they're out there.
Are they coaching and playing to develop to win at the level that they're at, or the next level that they're at? Because that's the real question.
I think they're probably doing both because I think it takes a little bit of the same thing.
Right, so that if these are Team USA players, there should be some accountability or at least consideration of, are we putting them in a better position to be helpful to the programs ahead of them?
Which is the hope,
and
right?
then still be successful where they are.
I liked it when I talked to the Oregon head coach, Matt Ulmer, and he said when he recruits a kid, he asks them what their next stop will be. So it's not like this is your endpoint, which reminds me of that exactly. Like, this is not your endpoint. Like, how can I train you for your next stop, whether that's professionally, USA, whatever it might be? And I never really thought about it that way because, even as a player, like I thought college was my last stop. Like I never thought of it as a development phase for my next stop. And I think that if you look at it as a development phase for your next stop, it's actually going to make you a better player because now you're looking bigger picture. And I think having this league and being able to watch these players, like we're going to have 10,000 plus people here tonight. They're going to watch these players. Now college is a stop on your way to be professional.
It appears that you're still going to end up recruiting players from Team USA, from the national teams, from the Olympic teams, from the big coalitions, and that you still want it to be a good thing to be tied to playing Pro Volleyball Federation style of volleyball.
Yes.
And I think it's important that, okay, for the fans of it to understand that, listen, we're not going to take away from Team USA. You're not going to take away from international talent. You're going to enhance it.
Correct.
And if the game is being enhanced, then I think the magnet works. And I think that's the question for me is what direction are we headed in? So we'll talk. I want to jump into this Vegas lineup and this roster. So, Coach, at the best of your vision, again, we're in the dark. We're in the dark.
Watch this.
Yeah, we're in the
Turn
dark.
up the brightness on the computer.
Yeah. We're in the darkness here. So
it's Chronicle time. Supernova Chronicle episode 7 or whatever. And
they don't. I'll say this. I love these because it shows some of the personality of it. They need to use more of us, but there's that.
Well, we are pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, they need to use more of us.
Well, I think the biggest thing we talk about with Vegas is like they're pretty banged up, and that was kind of how I started my chat with Coach Flory was, and she's like pretty, like I was underplaying it. I'm like, well, how about this? Can you tell me your starters? Because I had ones underlined that I thought were going to start, and she even veered from that because I didn't know there were other players that weren't starting. So there's 3 key players that are not in for Vegas tonight. We won't see them at all. Number 1 is Gabby Gonzalez. She's out, something going on injury-wise. We will not see her tonight. She played really well against us both outings. Her serve, she was one that went on those crazy long serve runs.
Yep.
She also gave us heck in Vegas. The other player we will not see is Molly McCage. I believe she has a knee injury. She had been on short-term injury reserve for a while. She's now active, but it doesn't sound like we'll see her.
Okay.
And then the new one today, which was the black hole, Kylie Murr, the libero. She must have had tweaked a knee or tweaked something prior, and then in their practice today, tweaked it even more. And so she is now out because they don't want to risk hurting her more. They don't know for sure. By the time it was an hour before game time, can we get her to a doctor? Is it safe to play? All those questions. So they're holding her out. So those are 3 key players they don't have. They're also not going to start Hannah Maddox tonight. And she might be one of the most exciting, dynamic players, rookies in the league to watch play. How explosive she is, how fast her arm is. We will probably see her tonight, but she is not going to start. So we're going to see a different one tonight. And I hope you studied because I knew faces, and now there's going to be new faces.
That's what. Well, during the pass and serve, I was going, wait a minute, who is that? Like I had to look down to be able to identify.
And we've seen some of them, but they literally just activated Maddie Schimmerhorn from the practice squad to the active roster, so she could play libero today. So this will be her first game at libero in front of 10,000 people in Omaha, Nebraska.
No pressure.
Welcome to the big time, kid.
No pressure. Look, if we go down the roster, Molly McCage was the player that we found ourselves jumping towards on a regular basis.
Yep.
Like, we really wanted to go through and understand what Molly was doing within the game and how the Supernovas were dealing with her. But she was everywhere.
Yes. Well, she's so athletic. And like when you talk about like a jumper, she like climbs the ladder to swing. I mean, she runs the slide better than anyone else in the league. Maybe Asia O'Neal would be the other one that you think that would really runs the slide well. And McCage is just so dang athletic. So yeah, her being out is a big thing, and she's been out for a little bit, but not much control they have over that.
Like I'm looking there, it's the thing that happens, right? When you're used to having a certain group go through the warm-ups, all the routines, the drills, and then when you remove 3 or 4 of those people from it,
right?
Other folks have to step up and know what's going on.
Well, one that Kenna Sauer just hit, like I had to look, like who's number 17? Well, Kenna Sauer is also one that is now active and starting tonight. So
it's going to be different. Like it's going to be different, and there is some advantage to it, right? That you
haven't seen them.
A change of tendency, the things that the people that you go to in certain situations, certain sets that are a little bit more convenient, and then there is that matter of depth, right? It now changes substitutions and rotation for the thrill.
So they're gonna in the middle. Looks like they're gonna be starting Lainey Van Buskirk and Berkeley Oblad, and Oblad has done a really nice job for them, and Buskirk is one of their normal starters. So I think in the middle, they're going to be pretty normal. Granted, they don't have McCage, but every time Oblad has come in, she's really done a nice job for them. Setting Alicia Glass-Childress, like I said, she had been player of the week. Veteran, probably their most veteran player. That was the other thing Coach Flory talked about is that they're the youngest team in this league as far as like who they're starting. They start a really young lineup with, I think, 3 rookies. It looks like
Hannah Maddox looks just electric. I don't know what
that libero looks like. Megan Jemison though. That
doesn't
look like
Jemison.
Shimmer. So she's in 24.
Yeah.
I had her as number 14, but she told me that it was going to be Shimmerhorn that was going to be libero night. So Fran lied to me.
Oh, Megan Jemison, yeah.
Yeah, so Jemison's going to be looks like she's going to be a libero, but she was they would put in the pass for Kat Bell when Kat Bell was struggling.
Well,
outside hitters.
If both of your liberos are out, everybody.
And Jemison's a great passer, but they're going to have Kenna Sauer on the outside and then Kat Bell out of Texas. So they're going to look very different on the outside there. Jemison at libero will be a new look. And then opposite will be Saskia Hippie, who's just a dynamic, fun player.
Kat Bell is the X factor. We'll throw the break. When we come back, we'll set the table for the Supernovas up and down the roster, let you know who we think is going to be out there and who to look for in tonight's Supernovas versus Thrill matchup here at CHI Health Center. I'm DP. She's Coach Renee Saunders. We'll be right back to the Supernovas Radio Network.
Road construction is complete, so there's nothing keeping you from getting into Mullen Motors. They can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2024 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2023 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Layton in Lincoln.
No tagline, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Tread's Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Tread's Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread's Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Roger at Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers. Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
The Supernovas Radio Network is live. This is the Omaha Supernovas pregame show brought to you by Mullen Motors.
It's Vegas and Omaha. This is episode 3 for those two teams. They split matches 1 and 2. The first match going to Vegas, and then the rematch going to Omaha. But as Coach Saunders has been telling us, some of the names and faces have changed for Vegas and will tonight, very much so. So we will be aware and we'll try to keep you as informed as possible. But on the Omaha side, Coach, what news do you have?
Well, they're making a little change. The spark plug off the bench is going to get a start tonight. Paige Briggs is going to be switching out for Betty De La Cruz. Bird asked me if I was going to guess who we were going to start, and I was like, well, I was curious what you were going to do. I said, there's part of me that thinks Paige Briggs is really good off the bench. You know, there's some players that are really good off the bench, and there's other ones that are really good starting. And Bird said, yeah, she is, but she's been killing it in practice. She came in and lit it up in the game. They run a little faster tempo to her, and they know they're going to have to run a faster tempo against Vegas to be successful. So they decided to go with Paige instead of Betty. So those two swapped out. Otherwise, our line was pretty normal, but talk about having a gem on the bench for if we do have to make a substitution. Having a Betty De La Cruz to come in is big.
Well, I mean, my question would be, how would you use her off the bench?
It depends on what we need, right? Like if we need some aces, that might be an opportunity for Betty to come in and do her thing. She leads the league with 23 aces. Give her that opportunity if we need her to get in and get some swings in the front row, some experience. That would also probably be helpful.
We did not see Valentine Anderson on Thursday night.
We did not.
What are your thoughts?
It's a toss-up because they're both very good setters, and I think they're sticking with Hilly. I mean, I know they're sticking with Hilly tonight, but Bird's like, you might see Nadi tonight. You might see her. She might be one of those players that comes in, and because she runs such a faster tempo ball, and that was part of the reason why they wanted Paige in. And then we talked a little bit about how Sydney can set a faster tempo ball too. She just has to get comfortable enough with her hitters before she does. So I think once that happens, then I think Sydney will also run a faster tempo ball. Defensively, Nadi's probably a little bit better at defense than Sydney. Paige is a little bit better at defense than Betty, a little better at serve receive. So we're kind of going with like our minus Nadi, our best defensive lineup, which is starting to kind of maybe become the identity of the Supernovas, is to be a great defensive team.
Well, I mean, defense travels, and we know that on the road, that's been how they've managed to hold things at the level they have. I believe, 5-1 on the road so far. So it makes perfect sense that be part of the identity. But there's depth. And Nia Reed went from start.
That was Kendall and her foot.
Went from start to to not being seen. Nia was playing exceptionally well. Again, you've got to keep Mayfield is in the rotation. How do you handle that now in game 14?
I honestly think that Bird. We talk about communication, right? And obviously we talk about how well Kendall communicates, like in game, to the front row, to the back row, to the server, and like kind of tells people what's going on. I had talked to Doc, and he said the one thing they talked about was challenging him on communicating better. And I thought they did that on Thursday. But when you have a great group, and we talked about what great team chemistry the Supernovas had, they have that because of great communication. And Bird said she almost would rather just be like, not have to talk so much, but she knows that, I think in the void of communication, negativity normally fills it. So she's using her communication with the players to understand what their role is, when we need them, what might change, when they need to be ready. And she's having those conversations. And I think all that's earned in practice. I don't think she's stabbing in the dark. I think their coaching staff is fantastic at communicating with each other, listening to each other, not just talking, but also listening.
I think this is a middles night.
Is that your
for
vibe?
Omaha? Yeah, that Tori and Christina can and should have a night. And I think it would make things much easier, smoother, productive for the Supernovas.
I agree 100%. Christina and Tori, blocking-wise, have been huge for us. And Christina came on, how many games did she miss before she came?
2.
She only missed the first 2 matches of the season.
2.
So even though missing those, she's our second best blocker on the team. Like, she's catching up to Tori. And so when you have someone like that in the front row, it makes the whole back row a lot easier to play.
I just think, one, how they block, and again, shots being fired tonight from some loaded weapons from Vegas, but also their ability to put balls in play and get points, get kills to the floor. It's gonna be a night. Like, I think Tori and Christina could steal a large volume of points, a larger volume than we've seen in some of the nights.
I would love to see that, because it's something I've noticed, but also that Bird mentioned today, is that they're depending too much on their pins. We've got to get our middles going, and I think if we can do that, that's going to open up things for It'll also allow us to be able to run a little bit faster, and all the things that we want to unravel as the season goes through is all made possible by getting the middles involved.
Let's get them busy. Let's have a big night in the middle. That'll do it for us in the pre-match show. Jump over to the Ticket app, the Supernovas app, and follow us there. You can, of course, jump on LO961 in the streams all over the place. We're going to go to break, come back, anthem and all here on the Supernovas Radio Network.
This is Brad with Midwest Bank, proudly serving our Nebraska communities for over 70 years. We're a community bank, making local decisions, supporting local organizations, and helping local businesses